Kia ora tātou. That means hello everyone. Ke te pihia koe. That means how are you today? And I hope you're going to say ka pai, which means I'm good. Hey, ordinary Oscar today. It's all about a snail and his adventures. It's written by Laura Adkins and Sam Hearn, and it's another one of our scholastic books. Ordinary Oscar. In the moonlit garden of number 6, Crinkly Close, the snails are busy. Slowly they munch and crunch the tasty tender leaves of potted plants and juicy leaves. They are all happy snails. Wow! Look at all those snails. I wonder if you could stop the video and count them. Well, nearly all of them are happy. Oscar Slime Glider was not happy. I'm tired of sleeping all day, he said. I'm fed up with eating all night. I'm bored with being greenish, greyish, brownish. I want other snails to look at me and say, wow, there's Oscar Slime Glider. I want to be different. Oh, but he's a snail. How can snails be different? Let's find out. I want to be famous. Oh, look, and there's him pretending to be famous. Somebody over here is saying, oh, Oscar, slime my autograph book. He just oozes charm, and he's really come out of his shell. Nonsense, frowned Oscar's dad. What's wrong with sleeping all day? What's wrong with eating all night? And what's wrong with being greenish, greyish, brownish? Worried Oscar's mum. Your 25 brothers and sisters never complain. 25? Oh my goodness. And there's a little sign there saying we never complained. But Oscar was determined. The wise old snail will know what to do, he declared. So off he went. What do you want to be famous for? Asked the wise old snail. Can you paint? Can you dance? Can you play the guitar? Oscar shook his head. Being famous isn't always easy, you know, grumbled the wise old snail. Are you sure about this? Oscar nodded. Very well then, sighed the wise old snail. You're going to need a bit of magic. And he told Oscar what to do. Oh, we better keep reading so we can find out what happens. Oscar waited patiently for the sun to rise. Then he turned around 3 times and cried, Slime, slime, slither, slither, fairy god snail, please come hither. Oh, does he think he's Cinderella? The fairy god snail appeared. So you want to be famous? She smiled. Yes, please, Oscar wriggled eagerly. Then I shall grant you 3 wishes, replied the fairy god snail. But choose carefully, she warned, and then she waved her magic wand and disappeared. Oscar closed his eyes tightly and made a wish. Oh, I hope it worked. Slowly, Oscar opened his eyes. Oh, look at me, he gasped. Oh my goodness me. I'll be famous for being the most marvellous mollusk. I'm a stunning, stupendous, spectacular snail. Everyone will admire me. And sure enough, someone was admiring Oscar. Oh my goodness. And I'm not sure if you can see it, but all of these stars are very, very sparkly. And Oscar's got sparkly stripes on him as well as his sparkly, starry eyes. Wow, he looks amazing. Up above, a hungry bird smiled to himself. That snail looks like a terrifically tasty treat, he thought, plunging down. Oscar's going, help, help. Get your greedy beak off me, Oscar wailed. I wish I was bigger than you. much, much. Oh no, you know what's going to happen? Bigger. Oscar landed in town. He was bigger than a bus, bigger than 6 buses glued together. Somebody says, call the police, call the army, call the fire brigade. All around him, tiny people were screaming and running away. It's horrible, they cried. Uh-oh. Oh dear. Gotta be careful what you wish for. As the sun began to sink, Oscar slithered into the woods to hide. Now I'm famous for being frightening, he sniffed, and I have no friends. Oscar began to cry. I want to go home to Mum and Dad and my 25 brothers and sisters. I wish it was just ordinary Oscar again. And just like that, let's see, he was home. Where have you been, Oscar? Asked his dad. We've been awfully worried about you. We thought you might have been squashed, said his mum. Now, it's dinner time. I've got some tasty tender leaves just for you. My favourite, smiled Oscar. Perhaps being ordinary isn't so bad after all. But sometimes, just sometimes, even an ordinary snail can do extraordinary things. And 6 weeks later, this is a picture of the Daily Snail newspaper. And it says, that's my boy. And there's a picture there of Oscar's mum and Oscar. Celebrity. Mrs. Slime Glider looks on proudly at her heroic son. When Mrs. Gertrude Slime Glider fell into some shifting soil, she was overcome by panic. For Gertrude, who was expecting 60 eggs next week, she was trapped, while her 26 children, Agnes, Bernard, Cornelius, Destiny, Electra, Fifi, Georgina, Heathcliff, Ingrid, Jethro, Keanu, Lavender, Mozart, Norbert, Oscar, Pandora, Quentin, Rupert, Sigmund, Thomas, Ursula, Veronica, Wilma, Xavier, Yates and Zebedee roamed the flower bed. I told Angus to go and fetch your dad, but because he was so far away, I knew that it would take a long time. With her husband on the other side of the garden, Gertrude was desperate until clever Oscar came to the rescue. Anxious Oscar, a St. Mollusk pupil, had gathered all of his siblings together. Under his direction, they began to eat the surrounding plants. The brave youngsters kept his cool, and soon the soil began to shift, allowing Gertrude to escape. He's a very sensible and caring snail. He knew I was expecting eggs, and I think that made him more aware of the situation. I'm really proud of him, said Gertrude. When my husband gets here and hears about what happened, I know he'll be proud too. And just like that, Oscar was famous. Hey, that's a pretty cool story. Until next time, my friends, ka kite.